DJ and PK, well, we've got news breaking late last night on the basketball scene. PK, Lynne Roberts out at the University of Utah's women's basketball coach. She is leaving to take the job as a head coach of the LA Sparks in the WNBA.
That was an eyebrow raiser because of the timing. And, you know, they're dipping down into colleges into pro level. And then personally, she was a great interview. Loved having her on. Very
interviewed her multiple times, yeah. She always had stuff to say. It was always intriguing.
Right, and she was full of energy, and she sold the sport without being obnoxious. And obviously, it speaks for itself. She did a whale of a job, which is why the Sparks would want her, bring her aboard. But then you got the timing issue. And I got to admit, when I read that, like, these ladies are just starting their season.
The season started. They're 3-1.
Yeah.
They're 4 games in, and she's out. And the WNBA season, they haven't set the schedule for next year. But last year started in early May. And
yeah,
I
it
think
goes
that's
from
the
like
projection
May to
this year.
Right?
Yeah. It'll start.
They've extended it with the number of games that they've played over the years because they're in there like 25-year plus. And when I worked for the Watchdog, covered WNBA a lot. I was always the Phoenix and LA person.
We've got to go to the Phoenix. Yeah. Hand goes up.
Well, no, they would tell me.
Oh, they would tell you?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because, you know, it's summertime, vacation time. So we had a primary beat person, but she needed some time off and whatnot. And so, yeah, I can recall going to the Suns arena and to the Forum, it was at those days, and covering plenty of WNBA, and covered them here too, for that matter.
It's a mid-April draft, and training camp usually starts late April. So why not finish the season? You would be a lame duck, but now they've got the interim coach. Neither one of those is ideal. I get that.
She should have called Kevin Young.
It's not an interim coach. I believe Gavin Peterson's.
Is going to be it permanently?
They announced him as the head coach.
As head coach, not interim.
There's no interim.
No interim.
To an extent, everyone's interim.
Sure.
I mean, if he doesn't win, you got to win. And he's got a lot of experience. That's not really the issue.
The issue is, what about all in or in the way? What about the whole concept of team and you're there for the season? Although I think we are about 3 weeks away maybe from seeing the college football players bolt on teams that are in the college football playoff. We saw it last year with Texas's backup quarterback transferred to Duke, and they had Arch Manning there, so they had another guy. And I guess with 4 teams, it's only 2 games, so you probably don't need your backup quarterback. But nonetheless, it's all pro sports, and everybody's doing what's best for them.
But this is unusual.
This is unusual.
The players finally figured out we can do what the coaches have been doing for years.
Right. Yes. Coaches have been out before bowl games for a long time.
Right. It's basically...
I don't even know when that started. But
the
at
week
least
after the season.
Right.
They fire guys leave, guys take other jobs. Yep. Bronco announced that he was going to Virginia that following week. Blah, blah, blah. You had the shocker of Lincoln Riley doing it.
When the Utes went to the Fiesta Bowl, both coaches were out of there.
And then you had Cristobal. The first 5 questions, the loss of when the Utes beat them in the Pac-12 title game.
Nobody's asking about the game.
Yeah, I know.
It's all about his career.
Right. It was all obvious he was going to Miami, and I sat there. And I didn't ask any questions because you only get a short time, and the local media was just grilling him, and he didn't want to have any of it. And then 3 days later, he's gone to Miami.
Bye.
Yeah. So,
Bye.
I mean, obviously he'd had discussions about that. And then Oregon, the next year was it? That they need to beat Oregon State. That was the year that the Utes had 50 different things break their way. And they literally got a plane in Eugene waiting for Kenny Dillingham.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Off to Arizona State.
I love Kelly Dillingham as much as the other guy, but how much did that have effect on the team? They literally had the plane there waiting. It was done. I was told it was done. Everybody knew it. And so you get that stuff going on, but none of that this would be like a coach taking another head coaching job in September if we relate it to college football. It made me a little queasy.
I get that.
Because I'm thinking about, what about the gals who are busting it?
Right.
And the recruits that you just signed. You just had the 5-star gal out of Texas. You're telling me about it. You got statements there. It's awesome. Normally for years, Elaine Elliott, one of the best coaches I've ever covered for a long time, she would find these young gals out of Canada and all these different places.
Because she couldn't get 4 in the 5 stars.
Yeah.
And now they can. I mean, conference realignment, everything's changed.
Yeah, and that's great. And then a week or two later,
gone.
The coach is gone.
Gone. It's like you're right, but it's like I'm beyond the point now where I'm
But I haven't
shocked.
seen this.
I get it, and yet.
And I don't know how the
I'll give you a
WNBA
surprise.
seasons work to why she couldn't wait until March. I don't know. I don't know how it is.
Because she has to go and do the scouting leading up to the draft. I mean, I've been trying to figure it out.
Well, but yeah, your point is well taken that they don't have stuff until the spring. So
right.
In theory,
the draft looks like the first thing on the WNBA calendar. And last year it was April 15th. So why not coach the season and then go?
Yeah. And there is some scouting that you could do preparing for the teams that the U of U will play. You'll scout a conference.
Right.
Those coaches in your conference, she would need a little time because this is Utah's first time in the conference. But they know everybody up and down. I mean, the famous story of me getting a sandwich at the Jimmy John's in Hawthorne, California, and the big Polynesian kid, and I ask him, "You a football guy?" "Yeah." And I go back and I ask Kalani. He knew exactly who the kid was. Yeah. Because they know. They do know. Yeah.
They know.
I was talking to Kyle once about it, and a kid, he was asking me, I said, "Oh, yeah, he's going to go to junior college in, well, where?" "Northern California." "Where?" "Oh, up there by the Bay Area." "Where?" And then he knew everything about him, knew everything about the program.
When Texas beat USC in that legendary title game, 3 months before, Kyle had said USC is going to beat everybody. And then he paused and he said, unless they play Texas in a bowl game.
Yeah.
He already knew. He knew Texas's roster.
So you can do stuff like that, but there's got to be good reasons, I assume.
Well, I wonder if one of them, and we won't know, this just broke, and, so I've seen get people on, do interviews and talk to them. But do you do it then because you want your assistant to get the job, and this gives your assistant a season to prove I'm it? I mean, if you quit at the end of the season, then they can do an open search if they want.
Yeah, they can't really do an open search now.
So I wonder if that was a factor.
They basically, I assume this man, what's his name, Peterson, was the top assistant.
Right.
He was the associate head coach.
It's got to be. In this situation. They got a season. And for seniors, this is it.
Yeah.
And they have a decent team. And we'll see what they do. But I mean, it's kind of a blow to the gals, I think, to lose your coach like this.
4 games in. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up top of the hour, Tim Healy, Arizona State Sun Devils play-by-play voice. We will talk Devils and Cougars with him at the top of the hour. Stay with us.